Hello and welcome to the News at 10 on NTA News 24. We are reaching you live from the nation's capital city, Abuja. I'm Dennis Adegunlo. Let's see the headlines. Nigerians continue to react to second quarter GDP report as President Buhari lauds GDP growth. NNPC declares 287 billion naira profit after tax for 2020. Federal government to commence payment of consequential minimum wage arrears owed non-teaching staff of Nigerian universities. Plus, PDP crisis yet to be resolved as High Court reinstates Secondus. All right, let's begin with issues around the economy. The economy of Nigeria has grown by 5.1% in the second quarter of 2021. Figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics indicate that the growth surpasses an earlier projection. Musa Baba Aliu tells us more. All right, that report will come to you in our subsequent bulletins. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has welcomed the second quarter 2021 report by the National Bureau of Statistics, showing a third consecutive quarter of positive growth in Nigeria's economy, as well as the highest quarterly growth in GDP since 2014. Let's get this report from Benny Adams.
A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, shows that the growth, which is the progress from the preceding two quarters, is a continuing trend reflecting Nigeria's economic rebound following the COVID-19 induced contractions seen in quarter one and quarter two 2020. The increase is a pointer to the fact that the non-oil sector is a significant contributor to the economic performance in quarter two 2021, with growth of 6.74% in real terms, the fastest growth in the sector since the third quarter of 2014. The contribution to the non-oil sector to the GDP increased from 91.07% in quarter two 2020 to 92.58% in quarter two 2021. The President commends managers of the economy for their hard work and commitment, urging them to keep at it till the positive development touches the lives and pockets of the average Nigerian. The statement adds that it is gratifying to note that the various policies of the administration aimed at boosting agricultural production, improving the business environment, and investing massively in infrastructure are beginning to yield fruit. Equally gratifying is the complementary news of the steady decline in the rate of inflation over the last few months. Looking to the future, the President assures Nigerians that there is much to be optimistic about. Benny Adams, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Dr. Simon Harry as Statistician General of the Federation. A statement by the Special Advisor, Media and Communications of the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Tanko Abdullahi, says Dr. Harry takes over from Dr. Yemi Kale, whose second tenure expired on the 16th of August 2021. Currently, Dr. Harry is the Director, Corporate Planning and Technical Coordination Department of the National Bureau of Statistics, with almost 3 decades of statistical experience. And in fulfillment of an earlier pledge by the federal government to publicly announce the financial position of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, President Muhammadu Buhari has disclosed a net profit, a first in the 44-year history of the establishment. The President, who doubles as Minister of Petroleum Resources, says he is pleased to announce the declaration of profits after tax of 287 billion naira in the year 2020 by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. This is sequel to completion of the statutory annual audit exercise for 2020. He adds that losses for the NNPC were reduced from 803 billion naira in 2018 to 1.7 billion naira in 2019, and the eventual declaration of net profit in the year 2020 for the first time in its 44-year history. Statements by Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, indicates that this development is consistent with the administration's commitment to ensuring prudent management of resources and maximization of value for the Nigerian people from their natural resources. The President congratulated the board, management and staff of the corporation and look forward to greater value creation for the Nigerian people. In the meantime, the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Milikiari, has attributed the corporation's first-time ever net profit of 287 billion naira in 44 years to cutting cost, efficiency, transparency and accountability. And President Muhammadu Buhari's policy drive, he made this known while briefing journalists in Abuja on NNPC's profit after tax and publication of audited financial statements for the year 2020.
We are no longer declaring losses. As a matter of fact, we moved from loss level of 803 billion naira in 2018. We reduced it to 1.7 billion naira in 2019, and in fiscal 2020, we are making a profit after tax of 287 billion naira.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipris Silva, who joined virtually, expressed the determination of the federal government to surpass the current feat.
The first time NNPC is dead in profit. We are very proud of you and we'll always stand with you.
Joseph Johnson reports that transparency and accountability were words frequently referred to as watchwords in moving forward. Now, the federal government says it is determined to ensure consistent and timely preparation, submission and approval of annual budgets as part of its public financial management reforms. To this end, it has commenced a series of activities related to the process of the 2022 budget preparation. Neka Oko reports.
Each year, the Budget Office of the Federation seeks to improve on the quality of the budgeting process through a series of engagements and stakeholder consultations with key revenue-generating agencies, civil society organizations, the National Executive Council, the National Assembly, as well as the Federal Executive Council for a smooth and seamless execution. This year, the office has commenced the training of over 4,000 personnel of ministries, departments, and agencies who are to be involved in the 2022 budget preparation using technology and automation tools.
The desired outcome of this training is to enable participants to refresh their knowledge, fine-tune skills, and have access to the tools required to prepare and submit the 2022 budget on the GIFMIS BPS with minimal errors.
The training will be carried out in the 6 geopolitical zones across the country, involving 900 MDAs. In Abuja, Neka Oko, NTA News.
All right, let's now take Musa Baba Ali's report on Nigeria's economy growing by 5.1% in the second quarter. All right, it's still in the process. Let's move on to our next report. The federal government is to commence payment of the consequential minimum wage arrears owed non-teaching staff of Nigerian universities in October this year. Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, says the arrears are already captured in the 2021 supplementary budget. Joseph Ortsen reports that the minister was speaking after a closed-door meeting between representatives of the federal government and the non-teaching staff of Nigerian universities.
Under the umbrella of the Joint Action Committee, JAC, the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutes, NASU, and Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, meet with representatives of the federal government to take stock of the signed February 2021 MOA implementation. payment of consequential minimum wage arrears is among key issues on the table.
The problem was that it was difficult to get the actual number of people, the genuine people that this money is due to, because from 2020 up, a lot of people have entered the service. So this was the problem.
Time frame with a minimum of 2 weeks were agreed upon for sorting out matters surrounding retirement benefits and hazard allowances.
The issue of payment of responsibility allowance, our heads of units, we have succeeded in getting them to pay others who are affected, like registrars, bursars, and the others. But they omitted heads of units. So we have insisted that these heads of units should be paid.
The visitation panel to federal universities is also to submit its report next week, while issues of renegotiation of FGN, NASU and SANU agreement is to be arranged by parties when they meet. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
The National Economic Council has resolved to facilitate programs to ensure the integration of vulnerable children arising from crises in the country. This formed part of issues discussed at the NEC meeting, which was held virtually. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
The National Economic Council meeting deliberated on several issues, including presentation by the Special Advisor to the President on Social Investment Program, Mariam Uwais, on the need to address the vulnerability of the Nigerian children, especially those in the crisis areas, to avoid being overpowered by miscreants. Programs to enhancing the education and skills acquisition are approved.
The memo presented was made to acquaint the Council that the mission is aimed at facilitating programs that will ensure the integration of those children at risk and young adults by creating opportunities for them to have skills and to give them empowerment in order to reduce their degree of vulnerabilities. The program is meant to cover the whole of the Federation and at the moment some states have keyed in, and eventually all the remaining 36 states will key in.
With much effort on the progress report on COVID-19, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in his briefing said, although Lagos is the epicenter of the virus, millions of doses of the vaccines are underway. For example, he added, about 29 million doses are expected by Johnson & Johnson before the end of September.
Quite a significant amount of new vaccine doses coming in from AstraZeneca, from Moderna, and a huge quantity is expected from the Johnson & Johnson. We're told that all of this will come in before the end of September.
The Council also discussed on the need for various states to submit their report on the NSAS crisis for further deliberations, as few states have submitted their final reports to government, to include Abia, Ekiti, Enugu, Gombe, Kwara and Rivers, with the interim report by Lagos State government.
Other states are yet to submit their reports, that is 19 of them. The Vice President then urged the states that have not submitted their reports to immediately submit their reports so that before the next meeting of NEC, so that a comprehensive national report, one national report, can be produced.
The Council also received presentation by the Executive Vice Chairman, National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NISENI, on the development of solid minerals, agricultural implements, food and food processing, as well as modern technology, including helicopter development.
The Vice President has directed to have a committee to come out with workable solutions on how the activities workings of NISENI will immediately impact also on the lives and programs and activities of the state governors.
The virtual meeting was presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshimbajo. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
This is the news at 10, reaching you live on NTA News 24. More reports in a moment. Do stay with us.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Thanks for remaining with us. Now, beneficiaries of the conditional cash transfer will no longer be paid cash, but through the newly established scheme operating with bank accounts and debit cards. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umar Farouk, stated this at the recommencement of the conditional cash transfer to vulnerable Nigerians, now commencing with beneficiaries in Abuja, Kuje and Kwali area councils of the FCT. Ilyasu Aliyakubu reports.
This exercise signaled the migration from the cash-at-hand payment of the conditional cash transfer program to the online system using bank accounts by licensed payment service providers through the use of personal identification number PIN. We are happy for this government effort. It will go a long way in changing our lives. The Humanitarian Affairs Minister said the rebranding of the scheme was done to enhance the effectiveness and national social safety, to transparently deploy an innovative strategy to capture data on all poor and vulnerable households. She said the ministry has also adopted a policy that allows community members to identify the vulnerable amongst them.
With this development, beneficiaries can access or control their accounts using personal identification numbers, perform all transactions like withdrawal, bank transfers, and bill payments, etc.
And you know, the values of being banked is that first, your money is safe. Second, you will be encouraged also to start saving.
About 23,893 beneficiaries have been captured in the 3 area councils of the FCT. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyaku, NTA News.
Meanwhile, pensioners have called on the federal government to ensure the settlement of outstanding accrued pension rights of verified and enrolled retirees across the country. This was advocated at the Central Executive Council meeting of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners Contributory Pension Scheme Sectoral, held in Abuja. Abdul Salam Jubril reports.
It is now over 17 years since the Pension Reform Act 2004 was amended in 2014, which gave birth to the Contributory Pension Scheme. However, some retirees have reservations about the implementation of the scheme. One of such retirees is Christiana Adama, who retired from the Budget Office of the Federation in 2015. She says the scheme is fraught with several challenges which should be addressed.
We have known the system now. Let them change it. Let them do whatever is necessary to see that they salvage the pensioners, because many of us are dying unnecessarily.
Other retirees urge synergy between pension fund administrators and the Pension Commission in order to combat some challenges of non-compliance.
Public hearing was done before this act came in place, but we have cried out since we came on board to see how the act can be revised so that the retirees will benefit from their labor.
Now what we are witnessing is that instead of PENCOM paying this money directly to the beneficiaries, they are trying to domicile it into their retirement savings account. So please, we are appealing to the federal government to please prevail on PENCOM to release that money.
For Christiana and other retirees, The prompt payment of their pensions will make retirement life much easier, comfortable, and stress-free. In Abuja, Abdul Salam Jibril, NTA News.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has inaugurated a 12-man interministerial committee that will ensure successful conduct of activities to mark Nigeria's 61st independence anniversary. Let's get more on this from Kenneth Nanim.
The Interministerial Committee may be few in number, but the task before them is huge, as the responsibility for planning, organizing and executing all activities approved for a successful conduct of the 61st independence anniversary of the nation is rested on their shoulders. The committee also has, as part of its terms of reference, to co-opt groups or organizations relevant to the success of the anniversary.
Last year, the theme for the 60th anniversary celebration was Together. It is also important that we come up with an appropriate theme that will speak not only to the present situation in the country, but most importantly, the positive trajectory that we are all working towards for the greater benefit of the Nigerian people. I'm confident that members of this committee would come up with innovative means of celebrating our 61st anniversary.
The committee also will in September this year implement some of the remaining activities for the 60th independence anniversary slated to run for a 12 calendar months to herald the October 1st celebrations. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, who is also the chairman, Ownership Subcommittee on the Nigeria at 60 project, presented the committee's report on the one-year program. The 12-man interministerial committee is to be chaired by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Now, Nigeria can surmount current ethnic tensions and insecurity in the country if citizens are willing to discard practices that do not promote inclusion. This is part of the submissions made by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the unveiling of the 2021 Nigeria Social Cohesion Survey report in Abuja. Ekene Ndulue reports.
Nigeria, with over 250 ethnic groups, has recently been caught in the web of banditry, insurgency, and heightened ethnic tensions. This gathering is made up of patriotic Nigerians and the diplomatic community, and their aim is to find ways around these challenges. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo observes that the nation's challenges could be surmounted with increased inclusion among Nigerians.
We're obviously not as united as we would like to be, but national integration is a journey. And I must say that we may well be further along that path. Our destinies have become so interlinked as to be inseparable. This is why this administration has invested heavily and continues to invest in transportation infrastructure.
Organizers of the event stressed the need for government to reflect social cohesion in all its actions and policies, and also eschew politics of ethnicity.
There's also the need to forge a new national movement for Nigeria and Nigerians, one which inhibits centrifugal tendencies that cause conflicts.
Operationalizing social inclusion requires a series of actions that will ensure that every individual within the community can have access to their basic needs.
This report by the Africa Polling Institute is aimed at helping Nigeria find a lasting solution to its challenges. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
All right, third time lucky now. Let's get Musa Baba Aliu's reports on the growth of the Nigerian economy.
The analysis of the figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that the country's gross domestic product (GDP) maintained growth for 3 consecutive quarters. The last negative growth recorded was in the second quarter and third quarter of 2020. Factors identified as responsible for the growth are the gradual return of major commercial activities post-COVID-19 lockdown, as well as local and international traveling.
Businesses are reopening. Those who were under lockdown are getting back to work. But if you look at the growth year on year and exactly what was recorded, you will find out that we have not really gotten to where we are supposed to be. It's a gradual process if you look at the baseline from where we are coming in 2020.
Aggregate GDP therefore stood at 39.123 trillion naira, higher than the second quarter of 2020, with aggregate GDP of 34.023 trillion naira. During the period under review, the non-oil sector contributed 92.58% to the nation's GDP, higher than 90.75% recorded in the first quarter of 2021. The growth was driven mainly by growth in trade, information and communication, transportation, electricity, agriculture, and manufacturing. The oil sector contributed 7.42% to total real GDP in second quarter of 2021, down from the figures recorded in the corresponding period of 2020. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
You're still watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Stay with us, more reports coming right up.